Namaste. Today, Marie and I are going to go over a series of postures that someone could do in place of shoulder stand. They may not be a true shoulder stand at all, but this gives you an option for an inversion and a series, as a matter of fact, which are off of Viparita Karani, which we also know as legs up the wall pose. So without talking about it too much, what I'm going to have Marie do is go into the posture and we'll look at how someone should go into legs up the wall. I'm sure most of you might know how to do that already, but let's take a look. She goes from the side, brings her left hip up against the side of the wall, and she's going to sort of kick right into the posture. And here we go. And a couple of things, if we look at Viparita Karani, we want the back as much as it can be in a neutral spine. Sometimes, depends on the person, in Marie's case, no, but we might have to slide a little blanket or a prop underneath the sit bones or somewhere to make some space to try to create a flat spine. We are going to work on a method to flatten out the spine a little further. So from here, this is nice and relaxed. Someone could do this for long periods of time. This is good also for the legs as far as blood clotting. So if we're concerned with pooling of blood in the lower legs, us folks who are middle-aged or beyond might take this into consideration. This would be a good option. Okay, and we also have the option to flex the feet. So there's another one. You know, just this sometimes seems simple in and of itself, but you contract your feet all day long. When you go up a hill or when you walk up some steps, you are doing calf raises all day long. And when you're doing calf raises all day long, you need to work your body the opposite way. So the flexing movement, which we'll show again, is probably a good thing even to do first thing in the morning when you wake up, and that is to draw your toes toward your face. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at a split variation. So she's going to go into a split, and she's going to flex her feet again. So by flexing the feet in this one, we have more of a true position, much similar to what you could do if you were standing, if you were seated and you were, say, doing this and you want to flex your feet to get a true measurement of where your hips should be. Now, so this was an option for opening up the hips. Another option for opening up the hips would be, let's do Cobbler Pose. So we've got an inverted Cobbler Pose. Okay, you have different levels where people are going to be very flexible. You know, you're going to have some people who are going to naturally be able to bring their knees all the way to the wall, and some people who are going to have more difficulty in one way or another. This is just a very passive way of working Cobbler Pose. We're not even forcing it. For example, if you're doing a Cobbler Pose and you're seated, right here, some people will use their elbows as leverage, some people will use props and so forth. And the point being, when we're doing this in this position here, she's still got that benefit of an inversion, but not so much resistance as far as working the hips for flexibility. Okay. The last one off the series we're going to show today would be a shoulder stand. This is a modified half shoulder stand from a legs up the wall position. So she's going to come, I'm going to come around behind, and what I'm going to say is walk your feet up if you can a little more. You probably knew where you wanted to set. Okay. Now, she's not going to go into a full shoulder stand at all. Some people are going to be able to go in a straight line. What I wanted to show you was another variation of it. And so, come on up. Okay, so what we have here is we have the shoulder stand. If you're worried about the neck, there's a couple of things here. I probably might not do it at all. Okay, if the problem here is the neck, I probably would not advise this. But here is one example. We have 1, 2, 3 lines instead of one straight line. But that's not a big deal. Okay, the last one, I'm sorry, there is one more. Come all the way down, nice and slow. Okay, from here I'm going to ask you to go into knees to chest pose. Okay, and I'm going to get out of the way because sometimes black on blue doesn't carry so well. This one, for example, here what has happened is she's got a way to go to neutral spine, so the spine flattens right out in the lower part. If you're a person who's concerned with problems in your lower back, or maybe even, so that's lumbar region I'm thinking of, but then also if you've got problems in the sacrum, if you want to hit a neutral spine, here's a nice way to do it. You could obviously do this in bed at home. And without going any further, what we're going to do is we're going to roll out of that position. So she's going to show us how to roll out. Go ahead. Okay. Some things about practicing legs up the wall instead of doing a shoulder stand. Legs up the wall obviously is not the same posture, but it's probably the closest modification or alternative posture, and those modifications off of it are probably as close as you're going to get. There are some other variations I've seen where people used chairs, and we're going to even get to that in the upcoming weeks, using a chair for legs through the chair and so on. But the main point here being, when you have students in your class and you want to make it fun, you have options that you can give them. And I've heard some teachers just say, well, go off in a corner somewhere and go sit in child's pose because you can't do this. What you want to do instead is think and open up your mind and start to think about alternative postures that are close to the same goal you wanted to accomplish from shoulder stand in the first place. Without going on any further, I want to wish all of you a nice week and have a wonderful week. Om Shanti.